What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Moose Preparedness. So I've been getting a lot of questions and comments, specifically on my gear review video of, hey, these are 5 things that I said we had a whole lot of use out of, and people kept recommending some really great ones, and I really appreciate the discourse. Most of it was civil. Some of it was poking at me, and that's okay. I'll poke right back. But one of the things they brought up multiple times was, hey, we like the fact you said lighters, things like that, but what about this? What about this? What about this? So I figured I'd go over a quick one of the 3 best ways we found to cook food during Helene. So I kind of already alluded to it by showing the back. So I don't know if you can see it here. I'll bring it up in close. So this is a isobutane stove or cooker. It's a burner. And these little suckers are awesome. So this is my item number 1 for the top 3. So they're light, they're packable. I've used these all over the world in more in-hospital environments than Helene's aftermath was, because it was pretty temperate afterwards. In fact, it was darn near hot, but it was 85 degrees-ish Fahrenheit during the day afterwards. But the first thing in the morning, it's cool, and you might want a cup of coffee. I could not tell you how many people actually said that their number 1 reason that they were struggling right now is because they wanted a cup of coffee. So this is number 1 for cooking. So I've used this all over. This one is from BRS. I believe this is a titanium one. And the reason why I got this one is because I was doing a long range. I brought it up multiple times. I do long range hiking, long range rucking, and I was doing a sniper competition where you have to lug everything in and everything out that you want to use. You can't leave anything at the campsite. Leave anything at the campsite, guess what? It's forfeit, it's gone, you don't get it back. You can't drop off stuff at your vehicle, because guess what? That's cheating. Because I could just drop all my stuff the last day, and my ruck's super fine, super light, and I can haul it all the way out. So grabbed one of these at the recommendation of my good buddy Jim, who is my partner for the ruck and the chute. And the titanium ones are extremely light. They screw right on top. You can get these little these Coleman ones. There's a bunch of other companies that make them. They're not that expensive. So for the stove itself, for this little canister, I want to say they're somewhere between $5 and $10, depending on what size you get. You can get some huge ones. This thing was, I don't think it was brand new whenever we started using it, but you can hear, well, let's see if I can maybe able to hear the liquid in it still. There's still probably easily a good 5-6 days out of this for what we were using it for. Now, how do you cook stuff on it? So this is my preferred method. Now, this is just happens to be made by stainless steel. You see the burner marks on the bottom. But the reason why I like this one is a couple. There's a couple. So first, it locks together. There's a smaller isobutane container that'll actually fit up and inside of it. So that's a huge plus. 2, it comes with a lid. So the lockable lid is a big deal, especially if you're trying to boil water. So if you've ever tried to boil water over an open fire, open stove, it takes a long time because that heat keeps getting released, so the heat's not circulating. This helps eliminate that. The other reason I really like this is that it comes with a couple of cups in there. So take one of these out. So these cups, yes, they're plastic, but I tell you what, they have been put through the test, and you have a cup of this with a little bit of instant coffee. While not the best, still gets the job done. You could put other bigger items on it. It's just not, this particular stove is not rated for it. But then again, I really don't care about the ratings. You see I have a bigger pot of coffee here. If you don't have one of these, if you're a real big coffee drinker, see I still got water in there from last time I boiled it. But if you're not a real big coffee drinker, don't go this route, go something more single serving. But if you are, and you got a lot of folks who are, a system like this is fantastic to use, because you can actually cook over the campfire, boils the water, and it percolates the coffee for you. When you're done, just pull it out, you're good to go. So that's number 1, was these little burner stoves. I want to say that this top part here, you can find them for cheap. There's some self-starting ones that are have a little like clicker on them, like you would with a gas fire stove. But they're, I don't know, I've had some as of late. The one that I was using right before this stopped functioning. By what I mean by that is it did not open correctly. It was not pushing out as much butane through this little port. And I had another one where the igniter didn't work, which isn't a big deal as long as the gas gets out. Super simple to operate. I'll go ahead and demonstrate just because I'm not quite in a survival situation. I don't have to worry about the use of gas. So see a little gas valve here. You can go on and off, so you just turn it on. There we go. There we go. Kind of hard to see. You can definitely see there's fire back there. Pretty wind resistant because we're on a windy day today. You can see the flames getting kicked around. And it does turn up really hot or really low. So I really like this. And then when you're done, you can take this off. This does get a little hot once it's been cooking, but bottom line is it's a real quick, cheap, easy way to do it. So you're looking at a total package cost. If you got the Stanley Cup thing, I think they're about 15, 20 bucks. You know, you can get one of these self-sealing cans from Coleman, probably another 10. And then I think that titanium one was about 30-ish. So complete system. I do have a jet boil. That's what got me started in the isobutane water heaters. Jet boils are fantastic. They're pricey. So depending on what your budget allows, depending on what your packing limits allow, one of these is a great option. The other reason why I really like using water boiling methods is that I use a lot of camping food. So everything from Mountain House, things like that where you rehydrate it, gets the water boiling, you put the water in, the water cooks the food from the inside, you're good to go. All right, so that's great if I wanted coffee or single serving stuff, or it would take time if I was gonna cook for the family. So one of the ways we went around on the second part was a small gas portable grill. Why don't I have a big grill? Well, one, active duty military. I move all the time. I've had 3 grills broken. None of them have been replaced or repaired on any of the claims we've made. So I said, screw that. I'm not spending the money on it. I'm gonna get something that's cheaper, lighter, and easier to move, especially if I have to take it with me. So this is a Blue Rhino grill. I got it as a gift many, many years ago. I think 13 to be exact. And I always kept it in case of emergencies. I actually never opened it before this event happened. Why? Didn't want to lose parts. Again, I've moved 7 or 8 times since I've owned this thing. So, and that's cross country and across the globe. So imagine trying to do that and not lose parts for a little grill every time you break it down. So I just kept it in the box for a rainy day. Now, nice part about this grill is, again, it's powered by propane. So I've got these little propane canisters, super easy to change in and out. It does pretty well as long as the lid is closed. I found that if you're trying to cook with the lid open, like on that cast iron skillet I've got in here, when you're trying to cook with that with the lid open, it takes significantly longer to do. So the nice part is if you have cast iron, you can push it over like I did in the corner, close it down. Guess what? Now it's closed, we're good to go. Only real detractor for this one is the fuel tanks. So the fuel canisters are pretty good size. They're not as readily available, I think, as some. I mean, they're pretty readily available. They have them at Walmart. There are some folks that even post Helene, 2-3 days in, I was able to go to Walmart and they had an entire pallet of them. I think the fuel was running about 10, 12 bucks for 2 of them. And I went through 2 of my older canisters on this. I've used the other canisters before for a heating system. Been familiar with the Mr. Buddy. I used one of those in my heating systems. And so I didn't have a full can. That lasted for about 3 meals. But I was able to cook pretty much anything I wanted on here with the skillet. We've cooked lamb, we cooked beef, we cooked bacon and eggs from the chickens who are... Mother Clucker, what are you doing? What? What are you doing, girl? Get out. I just sprayed down all of the poop from them walking onto my stuff. And now they're like, ooh, bugs are in the water. All right, so that's 2. And the final one, and probably the least efficient, but kind of the most friendly one. Oop. I got the most goodest boy. What's up, Poyo? Oh. Gotta pay the rube tax. Sorry, y'all. Gotta pay it. Yeah, you're a good boy. He's out here watching the chickens, laying in the cold sand. Life is tough for this guy. Oh, right here? Right there. All right. Good boy. So, the big system I've got that works otherwise is this pretty awesome fire pit. Now, it's cleaned out now. It did have a lot of stuff earlier. Sorry, dog's hilarious. But the good part about this particular fire pit is it's got a grill. Now, that's the whole reason why I got it. I can put stuff on, put stuff off. The grill actually comes off if I need it to, and then this actually lifts up and can lock into place. Now, if you noticed, I went from butane, which is not reusable, propane, also not reusable, to a fire pit because I'm trying to diversify some of my fuel sources. So there's a little box over there you can see. I've got firewood, other things. I've also got charcoal now. It was a gap in my system because I had planned on seeing how far we could get with that. However, if your supplies run out, what happens? I have no way to cook food. I have no way to boil water. And if a lot of your stuff is survival food, cool. How are you eating? Chickens, gotta love it. So anyway, those are my 3 systems that I have currently. Are there any that I'm looking to in the future? Well, there's a lot of systems I have, like MREs, that you don't really need to cook. I've got a lot of cans that you don't need to actually heat up unless you want to. I will tell you that eating cold SpaghettiOs is not nearly as fulfilling as warm SpaghettiOs, but in a pinch it'll do. So I'm not really looking to expand necessarily my culinary capabilities. I'm looking at more of what can I do now with the resources that nature has provided. So I have a fire pit. Cool, awesome. Do I have the pots and pans to do it? I do have a Dutch oven. I do have cast iron skillets. I do have camping cookware that's rated for open fire, but whether or not it's true, I don't know. Have to test it now, because one of the things that I learned is that there are several of my preps, and I'm sure people have them too. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get this in case of emergency. I'll totally be able to do this in case of emergency. And you never test it. And like one of the commenters on my other video said, man, I realized how effed I was if this had been the real deal. So use this as a learning opportunity. Please learn from my mistakes. There are lots of things that I did really well. There's some things that I did absolutely terribly. And I think one of the biggest things is find out what works for your area. If you live in the desert, probably not a good idea to get an open fire pit. Why? There's not a whole lot of wood there for you to burn. Now, there might be other things you can burn, but is that stuff going to be toxic if you burn it? Another great question, right? But yeah, that's all I've got for this video. If you like it, please comment, subscribe, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right, tell me if you hate my channel, tell me if you hate my mustache. It really doesn't matter. I just want to hear from you, see what kind of content I can bring for you, and if this is value added. Thanks, y'all. Stay safe.